Yo, what up gamers? Today we're going to be watching Teddy, who is one of the best Ezreals in the world, and we're going to be putting up the runes up on the screen for you here. So interestingly, running the Ultimate Hunter instead of the Treasure Hunter, quite a weird choice. That's not what most Ezreals do. Most of them go Eyeball Collection paired with Treasure Hunter. So getting that AD and also the gold to hit their power spikes faster. So he's placed that ward in the bush there, and now probably going to be looking at the cheese on the enemy bot lane if they happen to be leashing and pathing through there on the way back. Gonna be able to get some free damage off. Alright, looks like the enemies had a ward, so gonna be able to instantly cleanse there so he can get out of Helos' range so he's not taking free damage. Not really gonna have a choice but to punish the Maokai here instead of trading back into the Aphelios since Maokai was blocking all the Qs. Okay, so I think probably the enemy bot lane ended up taking more damage overall. The only issue is that all of the damage was onto Maokai instead of onto Aphelios, which would be the more valuable target. It's not ideal, but basically what they should try and do now is just try and keep concentrating their poke onto Maokai and just try and keep him as low as possible. If Maokai is too low to engage, then he's just not going to really be able to do much of anything in this lane, so just want to make sure that Maokai can't really fight without just instantly dying, if possible. And if Maokai is just going to play so safe that they can't even poke him that much, that just does mean that they're basically 1v2 or 2v1 in trades against the Aphelios, so they can just try and make up for it. Wow, that was aggressive. Nice flash from Renata. Unfortunately, because they're not level 2 yet, Ezreal can't really use his E to just get that kill. He could try and flash for the kill, but he would not level up from the kill, and he would like 100% die there, so not going to be worth it. Just going to take the massive HP advantage over Maokai. Looks like they may be getting a gank here. We'll see what they can do. Okay, Teddy not even going to use the E to try and like kill steal the Maokai with the Q. Just going to go for the poke on Aphelios instead. Okay, so it looks like they're just going to try and crash this wave. Shove it as fast as they can. The idea was to base, but maybe something going on in the river here that may distract him a little bit. So he's popped his cookie so he gets some mana back here. So he actually has mana to fight if he needs it. However, with Viego retreating, I don't think there's going to be much happening there. So could just base right now. Okay, just going to do some poke into Maokai. Basing is still an option, but they do have Wukong in the bottom side while this wave is just naturally pushing towards them. So what they could do here is, instead of just basing to get some mana back, since Ezreal is kind of useless without mana, they can just wait until this wave ends up getting pushed back a little. It seems Wukong is a little bit cognizant of what's the opportunity that's presented to him here, so going to be going for a sneaky lane gank here. Which is good because I think the enemies have already placed a ward there. No, actually that's a red side ward, never mind. Yeah, we don't even see blue side wards, I forgot. Okay, so Teddy playing aggressive there, using the E, trying to bait the fight, and here we go, the Maokai engage onto Renata. Did not see that Wukong gank coming. Exactly. So it would have been perfectly fine for Teddy to base there. Hang on. Okay, gonna have to flash there just to make sure that the Aphelios can't just chase him down with the purple autos. Hang on, we also see Viego here, so Wukong should be blocking that W, that's fine. Okay, will they at least hopefully get the finish ring out this wave? Well, sort of. Yeah, it's good enough. That wave won't freeze. Not with those minions all so low. Yeah, so, I mean, Teddy could have just based ages ago. Once Maokai interrupted his recall, he was still in a perfectly fine moment to base. The enemy bot lane could not have crashed that wave in time anyway. But with Wukong on the boss side, it was good to just stay because you know that the way the wave stay was, it was inevitably going to push towards Teddy's side. The enemy bot was inevitably going to be overextended, and that was with Wukong just around in the area and with nothing better to do after clearing his camps except the gank bot. So if this were to happen in your own games, obviously you can't always like rely on your junglers to realize the exact opportunity being presented to them, but you can just like spam ping them, try and highlight to them what they can do. You can even type like lane gank, like gank through bush or something like that. Just try and let them know. It doesn't always work, but sometimes it can be worth just mind controlling your jungler like that. if you know that it's a good opportunity for them. Like a lot of the time, what I'll do is I'll say, this lane is gankable in 30 seconds. Like specifically in like 30 seconds. If I see the wave is about to reset and it's going to be pushing towards us, and my jungler is like on boss side or headed towards boss side, I'm going to be like, yeah, you can finish clearing your camps and just gank us in like 30 seconds time, alright bro? Okay, so they're going to be crushing a big wave on the turret here. That's going to be an opportunity not to go for the turret because they don't want to get engaged on by Maokai. Good, just going to be poking them down first and then going for the plating. And also going for a dive here. Nice damage. Okay. Nice. Very well executed dive. Yeah, so generally what tends to happen when you crash these waves is the enemy bot lane doesn't want to just let you get those platings. They're going to stand a little bit aggressively. So if you go for the platings, they can either poke you back, or in Maokai's case, is just going to be able to engage on you. And so immediately the first thing you want to do is like Q the Maokai, auto attack him. Just don't like try and step close within his range to hit the turret instead, because that's going to be an opportunity for Maokai to like trade back onto you. Whereas if you just poke him with the Q initially and then try and auto him from max range, he's going to realize, shit, I can't do anything back to him here. I need to back off. And then when he backs off, that's your opportunity to go for the plating. And we're going to be picking up a Sheen here. Actually, I'm not even sure what items he just picked up from the back and which were from the previous back. But currently sitting on a tier, also a Sheen, also a Caulfield's Hammer. Worth noting, he did start with a Doran's Blade, by the way. This is very common on Ezreal, even though he loves the tier once they get it stacked. People don't like to start tier on Ezreal. They just want to go Doran's Blade for the early offensive stats, because he does use the AD really well, also the HP. He can play really aggressive early game. So you can definitely start Doran's Blade to try and go for an early advantage. You can start here, but honestly, it's just not going to give you as good results as if you just play aggressively with Doran's Blade. You can go aggressive with tier as well, but it's obviously going to give you less chances of getting a kill without all the extra AD. Okay. Nice snipe onto the Viego through the Maokai. So with the wave state on bottom being about even, as far as I can tell on the minimap, there's pretty much no downside to just moving here. If you had already started lost sitting a little bit, would have hurt him a lot to go for that roam, if he has no idea whether he's actually going to secure a farm or not. But actually the wave was even pushing towards him, so it was a very good time for him to go roaming. So again, gonna be crashing the wave here. Yep, that's also another neat Ezreal trick, is just dipping into the brush or just hiding outside of vision as you use your ultimate to try and harass. Enemies are much less likely to see it coming compared to if you just cast it in vision. So currently just trying to mainly focus on the wave rather than going for poke here. He wants to try and clear out the wave. He knows he can beat them on the push anyway, and once he's cleared all those minions, there's going to be no minion protection for them. But also just wants to back anyway. Okay, that sapling wouldn't even go for him. Nice. So Renata was positioning in a way that even if it did start pathing towards him, she would be blocking anyway, so his recall wouldn't get cancelled there. Also, look at how he actually just leaves the base here only on 30% mana. Now, it is very nice to leave base with like 80% mana and 80% HP or something like that. Not that full, because it just lets you leave base sooner and you get to get more farm. Leaving base on 30% mana is like really extreme, but because he just finished the Essence Reaver, he's pretty much got infinite mana now anyway. Like, Essence Reaver is just absurd on Ezreal. You just literally cannot run out of mana. You'd have to try really, really hard to run out of mana. So at this point, he's just going to be regenerating mana really, really slowly. But he's never going to run out by any means. So in this case, it's funny because I don't think I ever would have thought of that. But yeah, I mean, you literally don't need mana anymore. You don't have to wait for the mana in base at that point. At that point, as Ezreal, you only need to wait for the HP once you've got Essence Reaver. No matter how low your mana is, it's just not going to matter. I mean, he's still on the same mana, right? Like, he's not going to run out. Each Q cast literally gives him more mana than it costs. So not playing overly aggressive here. Just going for the Q poke. Trying to gain a small advantage first before really toning up the aggressiveness. Fortunately, Ezreal versus Aphelios is a bit of an unfortunate matchup for Aphelios. Because he just really sucks into stuff that outranges him. He needs to be walking up to people to auto-attack them. So Teddy's just going to be playing in a way that just keeps the Aphelios at bay. Again, going for the out of vision poke harass. Doesn't actually hit him this time, but it was worth a shot. Just always try and hide out of vision whenever you're going to do that. Because it really increases the chances that it'll actually land. Okay, so I guess the enemy knows that Wukong is bot side because they're playing really respectfully right now, more than they needed to. I'm pretty sure Aphelios was still pretty healthy. Yep. They don't really have a choice here but to back off. It's just so funny, man. Like, he left the base on 30% mana and he's still chilling on like 15% mana. He's only actually losing mana because he used a lot of Qs that missed, so they weren't getting mana back. Any Q that hits is like you're regenerating a lot of mana. Like 10 ago or something like that. Alright, that's going to be a super early turret. Indirectly thanks to the Wukong. He wasn't actually part of the turret taking, but he did just like force the enemy bot to back off there. What is this? A Aphelios build going for actually? What? Recurve build. I can only imagine that would build into Bork. But he's also built double longsword, which only one... I've done this mistake as well though. Like when I'm going Bork, I forget it only builds out of one longsword. Maybe that's the same thing Aphelios is doing. I don't know why he would be building Bork though. That's really weird. Anyway, so once we've taken that ball in turret, he's just going to be rotating over to the mid lane. In low elo, it's a lot more inconsistent whether you can get away with this. You would want to like at least try and ask your mid laner or your top laner, but a lot of the time, because it would take some time to set that up, the communication, I don't bother. I don't want to risk losing that tempo, so I just go straight bot and try and shove that in. And then once I've shoved that in, then I rotate mid, and then I ask my mid laner, hey, do you mind swapping? And if he doesn't, then I can go back bot by the time I need to crash that again, you know? But these immediate swaps are just a lot more viable in high elo when you know that the mid laner knows what they have to do in this situation. So a lot of the time, swapping to top... Oh, hang on. Okay, gonna be able to dodge away from that to engage beautifully. Hang on, not the end of the fight though. Okay. Yeah, so it is also an option to swap the top lane. I think the main reason why you would maybe want to swap the top lane is if you're going to have more time at the platings. So in this case, he rotated it to mid when there was only about a minute left of platings, and the enemies could, like, in theory, hold onto that for a little while. Like, if they just keep spam defending, you're not going to be able to get any platings anyway. So, if you're not going to be aiming to get down, like, 3 to 4 platings or 5 platings, then you may as well just rotate towards mid. Because on top lane, you're going to be really isolated from the map, which makes it less likely that enemies can actually defend their platings. But you're also not going to be involved in, like, drakes. You're not going to be involved in, like, anything that might happen on bot lane, for example. You're not going to be able to invade the enemy bot side jungle. When you rotate towards mid, you're playing less for platings, because it's a lot easier to defend them, but you're at least around for other stuff as well. So for top lane swaps, they're fine, especially if you're against a top laner who can't really fight back at all. Nar's range, so he could at least do some stuff. But mainly you just want to do that if you have a lot of time to go for plating still. If you can only get 1 or 2, not really worth it. Okay, so Teddy currently finished the Mana Moon as well. Just gonna be trying to get that up to a Maramana at this point. And so this is the gameplay pattern you're gonna be wanting to follow whenever you've already rotated towards mid lane. Just want to shove a wave and then like cover to the side wherever your teammates are. Try and back them up. Really, like in case anything happens, you want to be in range to back them up as fast as possible. And also just go for any neutral objectives like this Herald here. Okay, gonna be deciding to back off there. There's no downside to that, so we can just rotate back to mid here, get that farm again. Try and shove it out before the enemy laners if possible. Not gonna be possible in this case because they're two shoving it. But that also means they're sacrificing a lot of farm elsewhere just to get some mid lane prio, so that's fine. Okay, and now once he's finished shoving that wave, now is again when he wants to start looking for the fight. Always shove a wave and then look for these opportunities. You don't just ignore any farm that is on mid lane. Oh wow. Dropping very low there. Is even gonna drop, but then gets revived again thanks to Renata W. That was really aggressive. Ends up working out though. So now gonna be able to go for the Herald. At this point there is a wave on mid lane to pick up, but that can wait a little bit. Anytime that he spends not shoving in that mid wave, because it's a neutral wave, it's also gonna be costing the enemy's farm, so it's not a big deal to not go for that right away. So I'm gonna base here and grab. What's it gonna be? Okay, the Lost Whisper. So going for the Herald is Grudge here. So he's going for a pretty delayed Mythic here. No, actually, he's not going to be building a Mythic at all. Actually, this game I forgot. This is something that he does occasionally in Ezreal. Not all of his Ezreal games go to full build, so it's hard to say like exactly what games he would have not done a Mythic at all. But most of his games he does run Triforce. It seems that mostly the games where he goes for the Essence Reaver build are games where either the enemies have like no melee champions, so he can't auto attack a lot, or like in this game, for example, they have a Corki, which has a lot of poke. Oh, hang on, I'm gonna be joining in the fight here. Okay, that's just gonna be an easy kill onto the fellows. Yeah, so in this game, for example, the enemies have AP Corki, so not necessarily gonna get to auto attack a lot against that, because obviously you don't want to be like standing still auto attacking a lot against the Corki, which can just like pretty much 3-shot you with the rockets. So instead he's going to be going for a counter poke build. At least I think that's his reasoning, because the enemies do have like some melees, although granted Viego does go invisible for a little bit, and also he just randomly turns into ranged. You never really know what he's going to be doing. Gnar also only melee some of the time, and even when he's melee, you sometimes don't want to get close enough to auto attack, because wait, hold up. Did he just sell his Lost Whisper? No, he must have refunded it. Oh, okay, he's going for the Ravenous Hydra then. Jesus. I hope he didn't sell that. That would be morbidly inefficient. But anyway, yeah. So a lot of the time when Gnar is going to be in melee range, you don't want to always be in auto attack range, because he might then just go for a flash ult. So there's a lot of reasons why he might be deciding to go for the more ability focused build here instead of just going for Triforce. Which, with all of its attack speed, is quite a DPS-y build, but only if you can really auto-attack. So you can see he's just maintaining the pattern of push down mid, then go for like the side lanes and see what you can do there. Well, not the side lanes, but just hovering to the side. Hovering to the side where something is most likely to happen. Just preemptively moving there just in case something might happen. Okay, using that cleanse onto the Maokai ult. Just so he can get become part of the fight a lot faster. Yeah, so you see, as the Gnar turns into Mega Gnar there, doesn't want to walk up an auto, can only really poke at the Q, so. Probably not going to be able to auto attack a whole lot this game, which explains why he would go for the build that he's going for. No point going Triforce if you're not going to be able to make use of the attack speed. Yeah, so as you can see, he's playing really aggressively. Oh my god, that quirky poke. But he's just trying his best to zone off the enemies. Because he's playing a really safe champion, and that means that you can go really, really aggressive. You need to be playing actually quite aggressive if you want to make the best use out of Ezreal's kit. You want to try and force the enemy's hand to try and go aggressive on you. But obviously you always have the E to escape. So it's actually not smart of them to go aggressive on you, and that's why you can just use your kit to zone them a lot. However, in this case, Drake going over to the enemies because of the quirky poke, I guess. Bit unfortunate, but well. Gonna be able to finish off the Ravenous Hydra here, so his sustain is massively pumped up right now. It's especially important here because he's not going for like Eclipse, for example, which would give him some lifesteal. He's also not got lifesteal from runes, which is something also people typically do when they go for this rune setup. Not going Bloodline, so this is the only form of sustain he can get. Also, we'll give him a bit better wave clear. Okay, so just gonna leave the mid wave here because seems like the enemies might be on Baron. No, but they thought they might be. So that would be one thing that is worth leaving wave for, is if you want to try and prevent the Baron. And you know, it's kind of time sensitive. If you think you can stop it, and obviously he very easily can on Ezreal, he can just poke away at them from very far away. Trying to force them to stop, unless they just want to eat all the poke. So again, going for that out of vision as your little poke. Especially important to just cast that pretty much off cooldown. So they reduced the cooldown on that Ezreal a few patches ago. Can't remember exactly when, but they made the cooldown per level go down. So the later into the game it goes, like the lower the cooldown is going to be now. So you can just spam that ridiculously easily. So trying to walk up here, trying to clear out this wave as fast as he can before the enemies get a chance to. Eating quite a bit of poke, but he'll be able to recover from that a lot easily now. A lot more easily now, sorry. So he's actually just queuing the Baron for sustain there. That's pretty nice. You've also seen him just cast Q on Raptors randomly sometimes. It's just for the sustain. Oof. Bad bit of quirky poke, but still eating in really aggressively. Doesn't think the enemies can really do much to him there. So just trying to get his Qs onto anything he can get his hands on. Just trying to heal up as much as he can there. It's actually very important. I guess he went Ravenous Hydra just purely because of the quirky. Oof. Getting poked down massively, but he would already be dead if not for the Ravenous Hydra poke. So again, just going to be queuing the Baron even more here. Just well, okay, I guess also just trying to threaten the enemies a little bit in case they're on Baron, but just constantly queuing it for no reason. Just because he wants that sustain. Also going to be able to sustain off of the golems here. So that's going to give him a lot more HP. It's much better to go for a camp if you can than just queuing the Baron. But if it's all you have available to you, it can be pretty nice. Ooh, unfortunate miss. Nice, well played. Fortunately, Ezreal was, Fellas was not really in a position where he could really afford to like try and juke those Qs, because even if he dodges them, he has to move so far out of the way that it just puts him in Ezreal auto attack range anyway. He just kind of had to hope that Teddy would predict the juke when there wasn't going to be one. But obviously, Teddy just shot them in a straight line every single time, because he knows that's the situation the Fellas can't afford to juke in anyway. Yeah, also worth mentioning, obviously, by queuing the Baron, you also do reduce your ultimate cooldown, so it was full HP there, and that's why you kept queuing. Doesn't cost them much mana anyway, so why not? You get a base here, probably? Nope. Again, still no base. He has to be sitting on a lot of gold now. Ooh, okay, Maokai won't be able to do much to escape there. Yeah, so you can see he's not even auto-attacking at all. He just doesn't get a chance to. He's not really in range for auto attacks. And yeah, I get like against the Maokai as well. It's like same situation as Gnar. If he were to try and auto attack the Maokai, would be in range to get W'd. He would have to be forced to E backwards. Might still be able to get caught depending on the situation. So mainly just going for the Q poke at all times. If you're gonna be just going for Q poke, this is the build you want to go for. I mean, not necessarily in this order. It just depends, like whether you need to sustain that badly, whether you want armor. You can go for a Mythic sooner if you want. However, Teddy, as far as I've seen, typically delays it until at least 4th item. I've seen him mostly just build something else, a 3rd item, instead of going for Mythic. I think the one he most commonly goes for is Duskblade. However, I've also seen him go Crown. That's when he's not going for Triforce, obviously. So he's just eating up that Corki poke now. It doesn't even really matter much. He's got so much sustain. Also, I didn't notice, but there he's got the Servalda's Grudge, so gonna be able to slow the enemies pretty nicely whenever he lands a Q. Gonna make it a lot easier to land follow-up skill shots whenever he hits one. So very nearly taking down Corki there. So you can just see how aggressively he can play. He's got the Ravenous Hydra, which really enhances his playstyle. He can take as much damage as he wants, really, and it doesn't matter. Corki has to be forced to base a lot sooner than he has. Even though Corki does also have a Ravenous Hydra of his own, he doesn't really have single target damage, not much compared to Ezreal. Every single Ezreal Q is a single target ability, so it's gonna lifesteal a lot harder than Corki Rockets. So Corki gonna have to be forced to base there. So you can just see he just does not let up, just constantly using his E's aggressively as well. Whenever he knows that they don't have anything in range to follow it up with. Like he wouldn't want to E into a Maokai, for example, but he can sure E into Viego if Maokai is not in range. Oh, I don't think he realized he was getting turret aggro there. Or maybe he just misclicked his R when he used cleanse, who knows. So we're going to be selling his Doran's Blade for the Hexdrinker here. So his last item will be Maul Mortius instead of actually going for that Mythic. So seems to be scared enough of the Corki poke still that he's willing to go for that. Maybe in a bit of anticipation of how much stronger Corki's poke might still become. So seems to value that more over the Mythic. Maybe because he feels like he already has enough damage, and really Mythics aren't going to do anything but add more damage. So if he can just stay alive from the Corki, he's pretty much going to carry this game no matter what with the kind of lead that he has. So now willing to go aggressive there. He knows he could get collapsed on by the Gnar. Also potentially a Viego who's in stealth. Just getting zoned by the initially the Gnar and then the Corki there. Not able to do much in that fight. However, now when the enemy team is like way further ahead than Corki is, just gonna be able to go on Corki there. Pretty much misses everything, but obviously with Corki going AP, he didn't really have too much burst from auto attacks to be able to kill Ezreal. So just gonna fall there anyway. And he's gonna struggle to get back onto Teddy here. Although now they have a nice flank with the fellas on the other side as well. So Teddy's just gonna be doing what he can to deal damage here. Yeah, did what he could, however, just gonna end up falling there. But at least now has the Maul Mortius. So that's gonna be a big prospect over the Corki. That actually gives a massive shield these days. It gives you I believe a shield based off of your extra AD. So at this stage into the game, it's actually really crazy. It's gonna have like so much resistance to magic damage. And you can see he's got a ridiculously low Q cooldown. He's even missing out on a ton of CDR by not building Dustblade, but you can see he doesn't really even need it. Like, no matter how much CDR you build, you're not going to be able to like land any more Q poke to a certain extent. Or not poke, but like if you're DPSing somebody and like incorporating auto attacks into the equation whenever you do get to auto attack, like you're not going to be able to land like 2 Qs before an auto attack, right? You're going to be able to do Q auto, Q auto, Q auto. It's never going to be like Q auto, Q auto or anything like that. Nothing really weird. So there's a certain limit, I think, to where you can't really cast any more Qs. And actually, I think there also does come a point where your Q cooldown is just instantly reduced the moment you hit a Q anyway. So even the DPS as poke just doesn't even get any faster. Ooh, I think he was expecting that to take down Gnar, but still able to get enough CDR from the blue buff there that he could just jump on Corki as well. It's gonna be easy takedown. There we go. That Maka was very tanky, but it falls in the end. Ooh, wow, using the ultimate to cancel the Nar's back. So still has his magic damage shield. However, it's not going to be too useful against the fellows and the Nar. And he's just going to focus the Nexus here. That's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more of this kind. And also just let me know what players you want to see next in the future. Until next time, gamers.